So let's go ahead and dive right into propositional logic. And in particular, we're going to talk about the foundational building block of propositional logic, which is a proposition. So our very first definition, and I'm going to use this as an abbreviation for definition, is a proposition. So what is a proposition? So a proposition is a sentence, and in particular not just any old sentence, but a declarative that is either true or false, but not both. So it's a simple sentence, a declarative sentence. It declares something, and that something must either be true or false, but not both. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of examples of propositions. So one example is 1 + 1 = 2. That is a declaration. It happens that this declaration is true in this instance. Here's another example. This, indeed, is a proposition. It's a declaration. It happens to be false. So this is a proposition. Here's another proposition. If n is a natural number that is divisible by 2, then it is even. This right here is a declarative sentence that is declaring something that can be either true or false, but not both. Might be helpful to understand propositions by looking at a couple of counter examples. That is, things that are not propositions. So this was a proposition, this was a proposition, and that is a proposition. However, let's look at a couple of counterexamples. So in particular, x² + y² = 3. This here is not a proposition. Why is it not a proposition? Well, we have no idea if this thing is true or false without knowing what x is and what y is. So we don't know y and x. So we don't know if this thing is true or false. So this here is not a proposition. Another example, or a counterexample, something that is not a proposition, is this statement is false. That is not a proposition. Why? Well, it's not true. Oh, but wait, if it was true, then it would be false. So it's both true and it's both false, but it's either true or either false. Wait, but our definition says it has to either be true or false, but not both. It has to take one of those values. This statement right here, even though it is a declarative, is not a proposition. Hence why I say it's a counterexample. Another one, a counterexample, is something like help. Help is not a proposition. Why? Because it is not declarative. Even though I said it, I'll go ahead and write it down. The reason why this thing right here is not a proposition is due to the fact that it is not taking on the value of either true or false. Is one of these logical contradictions. It is not a proposition, and that's why propositional logic does not consider statements like this. It is only concerned with declarative sentences that are either true or false, but not both.